That 35,000 euros chateau in rural France, it's going to cost you closer to 200,000 euros. And that's if you're lucky. I'm about to break down the real numbers that French property websites and Instagram influencers don't want you to see. Welcome back to Chateau Walls. If you've been following the rural France trend, you've probably seen the videos. Beautiful stone houses for the price of a parking space in London, couples renovating chateaus on shoestring budgets, the promise of a simpler life surrounded by vineyards. But here's what nobody talks about: the financial reality that catches thousands of expats off guard every year. The property purchase deception. Let's start with that 50,000 euro farmhouse you saw online. Seems reasonable, right? Wrong. In France, the advertised price is just the beginning. First, there's the notaire fees. That's your legal costs, which run between 7 to 8% of the purchase price. On a 50,000 euro property, that's 4,000 euros you didn't budget for. Then there's the survey, which in rural France often reveals structural issues the sellers conveniently forgot to mention. But here's the killer. Most rural French properties haven't been updated since the 1960s. That romantic stone house? It probably has single glazed windows, no insulation, an ancient electrical system, and plumbing that's more suggestion than function. I've spoken to expats who discovered their move-in ready. Home needed 80,000 euros in immediate repairs just to be habitable. And let's talk about that 35,000 euros chateau I mentioned. Yes, they exist. But there's a reason nobody French is buying them. These properties often come with historical protection orders, meaning any renovation must use specific materials and techniques. Want to install double glazing? That'll be 2,000 euros per window minimum, and it has to look exactly like the original 18th century design. Section 2, the renovation reality check. Now, renovation costs. This is where dreams go to die and bank accounts get decimated. French building regulations are no joke. You can't just hire any contractor. They need specific certifications, and certified French artisans charge accordingly. A basic bathroom renovation that might cost 8,000 euros in the UK will run you 15,000 euros in rural France, assuming you can even find available contractors. Here's a real example. Sarah and Mark from Manchester bought a 65,000 euro farmhouse in Limousin. Their renovation budget? 30,000 euros. Their actual spend? 127,000 euros. Why? Because that charming stone wall was actually holding up the entire second floor and needed complete reconstruction. And timing, forget everything you know about project timelines. French contractors work differently. August? Closed. Random Mondays? Closed. That's 6-week renovation project. Try 6 months if you're lucky. The material costs alone will shock you. Authentic roof tiles for historic properties can cost 15 euros per tile. Need 3,000 tiles? That's 45,000 euros just for materials. Haven't even started on labor yet. Section 3. Hidden ongoing costs. But let's say you've survived the purchase and renovation. Now come the ongoing costs that nobody mentions. Property taxes in France aren't like the UK council tax you're used to. There's the taxe foncière, property tax based on the theoretical rental value of your property. For that renovated farmhouse, expect 1,500 to 3,000 euros annually. Then there's tax dehabitation, which varies wildly by commune. Some expats face bills of 4,000 euros plus per year for properties they thought were tax havens. Insurance is another shock. French home insurance for rural properties starts around 800 euros annually, but if your home is classified as a secondary residence, which many expat properties are, premiums can double. Heating costs are brutal. Those thick stone walls that look so charming, they're thermal bridges. I know expats spending 500 euros plus per month just on heating oil during winter. One couple's annual heating bill was 4,800 euros for a 3-bedroom farmhouse. Septic systems. If your rural property isn't connected to main sewerage, you're looking at mandatory inspections and potential replacement costs of 15,000 to 25,000 euros. And internet? Good luck. Many rural areas still struggle with basic broadband.
Starlink installation run 600 euros plus 100 euros monthly.
Not exactly the remote work paradise they advertised. Section 4. the income reality. Now, let's talk about making money in rural France, because those savings disappear fast when you're not earning. Remote work sounds perfect until you realize French tax obligations. Work for a UK company from France? Congratulations, you might owe taxes in both countries. Professional tax advice alone costs €2,000 plus annually. Starting a business in France involves navigating URSSAF, SIRET numbers, and a tax system that makes the UK look simple. Business registration costs, mandatory social contributions, and professional insurance can easily run €5,000 plus before you've made a single euro. Local employment? In villages with populations under 1,000, opportunities are limited to seasonal agricultural work or tourism if you speak fluent French and can compete with locals who've been doing these jobs for generations. Many expats end up commuting to larger towns, which destroys both the rural lifestyle dream and the budget. Fuel costs, car maintenance on rural roads, and time lost to travel add up quickly. Section 5. Real numbers breakdown. Let me give you a realistic budget breakdown for a typical rural France escape. Initial purchase, €50,000 property. Legal fees and surveys, €5,000. Essential renovations, €80,000. First year's ongoing costs, €8,000. Emergency fund for unexpected issues, €20,000. Total realistic budget, €163,000. And that's for a modest property. Chateau's buyers should budget €300,000 plus minimum for purchase plus initial renovations. But here's what really hurts, the opportunity cost. That €163,000 invested in UK property or pension funds would generate £8,000 plus annually in passive income. Your French farmhouse? It's a beautiful money pit that depreciates if not constantly maintained. Section 6. The exit strategy problem. Finally, let's talk about what happens when rural France isn't the dream you expected. Selling rural French property is notoriously difficult. Limited local demand, language barriers from marketing to international buyers, and estate agent fees of 5 to 10% mean many expats sell at significant losses. Properties in villages with declining populations can sit on the market for years. I know someone who's been trying to sell their cruise farmhouse for 3 years, originally listed at €120,000, now down to €75,000 with no serious interest. The French tax system also penalizes quick sales with capital gains taxes that can reach 36.2% for non-residents. Conclusion. So, should you abandon the rural France dream entirely? Not necessarily, but go in with realistic expectations and proper financial planning. Budget at least triple the property purchase price for the first 2 years. Have genuine employment or pension income that covers ongoing costs. Learn French before you move, not after. And maybe rent first. Spend a winter in rural France before committing your life savings. The couple succeeding in rural France aren't the ones who bought the cheapest properties, they're the ones who budgeted properly. That Instagram-perfect farmhouse lifestyle exists, but it costs far more than the €50,000 property listing suggests. Don't let romantic notions cloud financial reality. Call to action. If this video saved you from a costly mistake, hit that like button. Subscribe for more reality checks on European property dreams, and drop a comment if you've experienced the rural France money pit firsthand. I'd love to hear your stories. Next week, I'm breaking down why so many expats are actually leaving rural France. You won't want to miss that reality check.